Welcome to All Four Downs, part of the CMG Central Network. I am Joe Aguirre, be joined by Obu and Ease in just a minute. College football kind of turned up on its head. Huge game this weekend. More great games coming up and a real mess in the top 10. Just how are things going to play out? Hendon Hooker, no longer a Heisman front runner at this point. Also, we're going to break down some games for you. We'll give us our picks. And then I'm going to tell you tonight where it's all gone wrong for Alabama, despite all their advantages. Ovi, you must be in heaven right now.
Listen, we don't have to wait till fourth down to talk about it. But you on that topic, and we're gonna cover the college football committee's rankings compared to mine. But when you focus on Alabama, they could have lost to Texas A&M. They could have lost to Texas, right? So there's a lot of close calls. And yes, I understand that this is collegiate level. This is not like the NFL when you have a lot of expectations. But when you set the bar and you set the standard on how to destroy opponents, right? Like Alabama has been doing.
Yeah.
Now you get the sense that, listen, they're not that same level as how they were compared to when they had Mac Jones and the whole entire offense, right? And the fact that this Neil stuff, this not trades, excuse me, the transfer portals and everything else is actually working and spreading the wealth throughout all the colleges. Okay. You got people like, look, if I'm not starting, I'm moving somewhere else because I know I could be a starter somewhere else. And each players have a voice.
Well, don't forget how well Bama poached in the transfer portal. I mean, they already had the most top 5-star recruits in the country, and then they went pillaging of other people's rosters. And so depth issues, bad play, there's a lot of problems there. And again, when you look at all the advantages and count Nick Saban as one of them, right? One of the best college football coaches of all time. It's hard to explain, but I'm going to break it all down later on because it's deep. It's deep.
It's
and
deeper than deep. Like you're going to drown yourself into this.
There's a whole lot of reasons. Listen, Alabama, this is not a great Alabama football team. It's not. And with 2 losses, I'll be honest, as poor as this team is, technically, should not be in the top 10.
No, not at all. And I'm glad that you mentioned that because we'll get right to it. And you can look at my notes and stuff, and you can notice like the top 7 teams and compare to both lists are just what I had predicted, except it's not in order. I'm still confused as to the Michigan and Ohio State, but it doesn't matter when you're in the top 4. You really consider yourself as the number 1 team because if the season was to end right now, they'll be in the playoffs, right? Yep. But we all know that on November 26th, Michigan and Ohio State will play each other. One of those teams has got to go because the loser will not even partake in the Big Ten Conference Championship. You got TCU. Can they handle the pressure this Saturday when they go ahead and play Texas? Oregon is probably the most favored right now to make it to the top 4 because they're in the Pac-12. And I think it's about time we got the Pac-12 in the Final 4. I really do. But they still got a couple of games they got to play out. And every time Oregon is about to clinch their way to the college football playoffs, they always find themselves in trouble. Okay.
Yeah,
Tennessee,
and I feel like it's not even that they lose, too, though. They'll get blown out. Yeah. It'll be like a 34-10 game, and you're like, oh, I thought Oregon was one of the best teams in the country. What just happened there? That does sort of seem to happen with them every year.
I'm still confused with Tennessee at 5, and I tell you why.
That's garbage too, right? They're not going to play in the SEC championship game, and as you just said, look, you're gonna have, either number 2 or number 3 is out.
Right.
TCU moves up, Tennessee moves up. It's not right.
It's not right. And then you got LSU, which I know I picked LSU at number 7, right? And again, my picks, my rankings are on officially posted before 12 o'clock on Sunday. Okay. The committee makes their votes on Tuesday. So it's not like I'm trying to match them. And I'm getting it. But let's not forget Ole Miss defeated LSU. So if Ole Miss was to beat Alabama, they jumping right in front of LSU. You might as well say LSU goodbye because you're not partaking in SEC championship anymore. It'll be Ole Miss versus Georgia. All right.
Yeah.
And Clemson, one loss team. I understand, respectively. I got them at 8, but the committee has them at 10. That's going to be a long shot for them to get back in the top 4. Like, there's a lot of shakeup that's going to happen. But to change the subject here, Liberty, I don't see Liberty. I don't see Coastal Carolina. Why is not those 2 schools in the top 25? And why are we putting 3 lost teams in the top 25? I just don't understand that part either.
Well, again, it's kind of funny because for some schools, you'll excuse some of their bad losses for some of their good wins, I guess. It's a weird system, but again, listen, you put Texas in at number 18 and now suddenly becomes a much bigger game for TCU, who, by the way, goes into that game a 7-point underdog, which marks the first time in a long time where a team in the top 5 is an underdog to a team outside the top 15. So I
It's
don't know.
almost like last week where Tennessee ranked number 1, and watch this, the points changed by game day. Okay. So at the very beginning, once the schedule was like focused on the week, Georgia was favored 13.5, and it shrunk all the way to 7.5. That's a touchdown and a plus that they
Yep.
shrunk, thinking that, oh yeah, Tennessee is gonna do something, only to fall short. You might as well just left it at 13.5. More
Yeah.
money would have lost for those that went for Tennessee, but I was a happy camper. All right. But I had thought that it was gonna be a closer game, and it didn't turn out that way. But
Tennessee
that
looked terrible.
TCU versus Texas, that's the game of the week. We're going to talk about that and make our predictions on that at third down. But I'm liking that game because Texas is going to show why they deserve to be in the top 25. I know they're 18 officially, but they're going to show everybody, look, there was a fluke. Our season was a lot better than what it is because they should have never lost to Alabama. All right. But I like Ewers. Man, that's a nasty quarterback, man. And if he stays with Texas next season, I will pick him to be the Heisman winner. I will bid on that real quick. But
Yeah.
hey,
Well, I'll tell you what, when Max Duggan pulls off the upset and has his team positioned to be in the top 3 in the country, we'll talk.
no, I already know. Okay, save that energy for third down. But key notes here: Kentucky is 3-3 in the SEC. All right, but they're ranked 24. Florida State has never beaten a top 25 team this season. They're ranked 23. I'm scratching my head because remember what I told you:
Yep.
Coastal Carolina, UTSA, Liberty. Why they're not ranked, I have no idea. And you have to respect the Sun Belt Conference. Sun Belt Conference represented this year like they do every year, and they're beating the powerhouse teams. Okay. Kansas State lost to Texas. They're ranked 18 and 19 together. Again, why? I don't know. Now, who is the best in the Pac 12? Oregon is out there, which they're going to play Oregon State later on. They're going to play, I believe, who they play. I think they do play USC. I'm not sure, but they're going to play 2 ranked opponents at the end of the season. But USC lost to Utah. Oregon defeated UCLA. UCLA defeated Utah. You see that chain reaction going on? Okay.
Yep.
I'm still confused and scratching my head as to why USC is at number 8. But November 19th, don't forget, you are going to see USC versus UCLA, and we're going to see whether or not USC could represent or they just going to fall hard. And I believe that's going to happen. I like UCLA's team. They're fast. They're faster than USC. USC got the talent from the transfer portal, but UCLA, they've been playing together for the last 2 seasons. They're going to make a name out of themselves on that one. Now, Tennessee will not play the SEC championship. And the question is why they're at number 5. They're going to be looking like Texas A&M for the last 2 seasons, stuck at 5, and everybody else are going to pass them because there's no way why they will be at the top 4 team and not play for a conference championship. The only school that has a waiver on all that is Notre Dame because they only played 12
Yep.
games and their season is over.
Right.
Your
Okay.
conference is having a championship and you're not partaking in that championship. How could you how could that school be up front in the college football playoffs? That's all I got to say on that.
No, you're right. Solid points.
Solid indeed. Hector, thank you for watching our show. He says 2016-17 was the last time a Pac-12 team made to the college football playoff, and that was by Washington. So, and I do remember they were ranked number 4, and then they did not succeed there, but it's all good.
And they
Going
haven't
on,
been back since. Yeah, there you go.
moving on to second down, the Heisman. So right now, since that game, which I'm still like questioning this because it's only one game. When Texas A&M defeated Alabama, remember Johnny Football?
Of course.
He won the Heisman that year, but that team didn't win no national title. Okay. Hendon Hooker is still one of the best quarterbacks in college football this season. I wouldn't pull the plug on him yet. But if you're going to put CJ Stroud in the mix, okay, I don't think that he's number 1. There's enough talent in Ohio State that will carry that team. And this is a wide receiver named Harrison Jr., Marvin Harrison Jr. This guy makes CJ Stroud look good. Reminds me of the time Alabama had Devontae Adams making Mac Jones look good. And it was Devontae Adams winning the Heisman. CJ Stroud, and I know the weather was bad and everything else, and he threw the ball a little bit and he ran, but he is not the guy, in my opinion, to be in a Heisman race. I don't think he's the Final Four this season. I've changed my mind. I really do. I think Hendon Hooker should be the favorite. I think Blake Corum. A lot of people talk about Bo Nix to be in the mix. I like that. Nix to be in the mix. I like that. But anyways, Bo Nix, when he was with the SEC, he couldn't perform right. And they gave him the ball a lot when he was with Auburn. Now he's in the Pac-12, and they're looking at him like he's the best quarterback in the nation. I think you need to pull the brakes because once he play against an SEC team, should Oregon make it to the college football playoffs, we're going to see the real Bo Nix.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about it. I'm shocked that Max Duggan's name isn't on this list at all.
He is, but he is probably in a positive in the 4-digit number somewhere. But that's not to say that maybe he'll go into the mix. Again, I mean, we got to wait till December for the Final Four, right?
Listen,
But this is
Hendon
just a bit.
Hooker's out. He's done. He's out for me.
I don't think so, to be honest with you.
I'm sorry. That game, that was awful. That
Well, he got
me,
sacked so many times. The offensive line didn't protect him.
Oh,
You know what I
listen,
mean?
I know it was a total team effort, but again, I have high expectations for he's a very mobile quarterback. When you're under assault like that, you got to do, you got to do Lamar Jackson kind of things. And he didn't do that at all. He was terrible.
So do you
I
think
was
Stetson Bennett should be in the
I
list
think
of Final
Stetson
Four?
Bennett I think Stetson Bennett and Max Duggan don't get any respect compared to all these other guys. CJ Stroud he's playing well.
He's
I don't
playing
think
good
he's great.
enough. Right.
I'll tell you, I was very, and I got a feeling Caleb Williams is going to end up winning this thing. He looked great last week. He is playing really well,
Yeah, he
and
played like he was with Oklahoma until the end of the season. Then he choked.
yeah. Well, and again, I think there's some hope because people love Lincoln Riley and people love USC, and so that's a thing with them, the Heisman Trophy winner. So
Mm.
just by being at and again, it all is going to depend on how the season plays out. But I don't know what Stetson Bennett's got to do to get more love either, because all that guy does
Oh
is lead
man,
that
he
team to win
outshined
week after
Tennessee.
week.
He
Yeah,
outshined Tennessee. I mean, he was throwing the ball out there, and I was like, wow, like the receivers were helping him out, but he was throwing the balls narrow, deep, everything. And there was nobody really to step up into Bennett's face. So more power to him. Third down, we're coming up now, and this is the schedule for week 11. 6 games that we're covering, but I'm also gotta, tell you about the other good games that's going on. But number one, Georgia versus Mississippi State. That is a great game to watch. Nebraska at Michigan. That's a game to see if Michigan could cover the spread, along with Indiana at Ohio State. TCU and Texas. That's the game of the week. That is like the who's gonna be the best out of the Big 12 conference. Washington at Oregon. That's a good rivalry there. Mizzou versus Tennessee. Can Tennessee bounce back for what happened against Georgia? That is the game that we want to look at to see, or will Mizzou make it close or win the game? It's kind of hard to see now. Tennessee just fell on their face. You know what I mean?
it would be helpful if Tennessee just loses this game too. You know what I mean? Just so we can clear everything out and not make this
You
messy.
just want them to lose so you can have hopes that Alabama will make it to the playoffs.
Well, it's funny because Alabama's not out yet.
They're out.
They're not
They're
out
out.
yet. They're
There's
not
no
out
two
yet.
loss team ever going to the college football playoffs.
If ever a two-loss team was to make it to the college football playoffs, it would be Alabama.
Then you might as well start the top 12 teams next season.
Maybe they
Honestly.
will. Yeah, listen, I don't agree with it, Obi. I'm just saying the idea that they're out
But we might have
completely.
we might have to, because you should not have a two-loss team there. I'm sorry. It's just, unless everybody got 2 losses, then I can understand.
If we were being fair, we wouldn't be college football.
Duly noted.
That's it. That's the way it is. There's a reason Coastal Carolina hasn't cracked the top 25 despite being 8-1.
No,
And again,
they weren't getting ranked the last 2 years anyway.
bro, I
So
was gonna
why
say it's
now?
been the same
Mhm.
team with Grayson McCall now in his junior year. Like, what does that kid have to do to get your respect and attention? What is that? Who does that team have to beat before people are like, oh, maybe they are good?
No. It's like what you said before. They're so good that once they put them against the powerhouse, well, that talent's already gone. But don't worry, McCall will have his chance in the NFL and will outshine everybody and maybe win a Super Bowl and be like, "Hey, look at me now." So, uh, but speaking about Alabama, Alabama's at Ole Miss on the road against Ole Miss, a one-loss team in the conference. UCF at Tulane, and North Carolina at Wake Forest. I am very intrigued with that. The Tar Heels and Wake Forest, because Wake Forest, they were representing at one time and they fell short. And being that the game is at Wake Forest, North Carolina is a must win if they want to have their chance against Clemson in the in the ACC championship.
Well, that's quite a tall task. That's going to be
Anything's
a good game.
possible.
That game should be high scoring.
9 schools, 9 top 25 teams lost this weekend. How many will lose this weekend coming up? But we're only covering 6 games, and we're going to start with Georgia at Mississippi. 16-point spread for Georgia. Who do you like in this game? Over under is 53 and a half.
I will take Georgia winning the game and covering the spread here.
See, I made you a bulldog. Congratulations.
I'm not stupid. I see what's happening. They're really good. They're not, I mean, listen, not only is their defense overwhelming,
Mm-hmm.
but their offense moves the ball really well. And,
I think they're quicker than last year.
oh, yeah, this is a great football team. It really is. That defense is phenomenal. So, yeah, you got me with these guys. This is definitely a Georgia year.
I think so too. But I'm glad that you mentioned that. Now it hasn't been so well for Nebraska, but they do go on the road at Michigan. And even though they're number 3, but I got Michigan at number 2, but the spread is at 31, over under 48 and a half. What's your take on this?
How many points? 31?
31.
Wow.
Dum.
I am
No.
going to Nebraska has been playing a little bit better, but still very inconsistent. I'm just afraid some junk scores late. I'll take
That's the
Michigan
whole
given the
point.
31. Yeah.
All right, so you're
No,
taking this.
I'm going to take Nebraska. I think it ends up being closer than 31. It won't be that close of a game, but I think they're going to I think it'll end up being closer for no reason.
Okay. Now, the history between Michigan and Nebraska, Michigan has won 6 out of the 11 games. They're 6-4-1 going in there, and the last time they played at Michigan won 56-10. Nebraska could score points. I got that. But Michigan is more of a defensive game. And I'm going to take a slight edge going over 48 and a half. 31-point spread. You might as well just take the over in the game.
No.
You still don't budge.
No.
All right. Well, I'm taking that 48 and a half over. Being at Michigan, being that they're still under Ohio State, I think that motivates them more to make up that spread and show everybody, look, Michigan's for real, because that's what they did last week. So I got the over on this one.
All right, I like it.
All right, we're talking about Ohio State there. Indiana visits Ohio State. 40-point spread, 58 over under.
I'm going to take the under on this game.
Wow. What you think is 40-0?
Yeah, I don't think Indiana's going to do much more than 6 or 9 points.
Wow.
I think Ohio State will put up about 40, 45. I don't think, yeah.
So Ohio State has a 26-game win streak. And if there's anything, I predict that Indiana will at least score 1 touchdown. And Ohio State waits till the fourth quarter to make all that, points and stuff. But being at 40 points, I'm taking the over in this game. I mean, Ohio State's going to win, so I might as well make it interesting and just go over. I'm just a high
Do it.
risk roller like that.
You got
Yeah.
to.
So you're taking Indiana and the points?
No, I'm taking the under on the game.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Just to let you know, the last time they played in Ohio State won 54. Well, last year they won 54-7. In Ohio, they seem to play a little bit better in Ohio than Indiana, but all right, fair enough. Game of the week, TCU versus Texas. I am taking Texas, and I am taking the spread. I'm taking the points.
I'm going to take TCU and the points.
You're confident that TCU is going to be in the top 3.
I am.
And
Yeah.
all right. I think this is the reason why they built it this way. Let's put Texas at 18. Let's give some leverage for TCU. But the same way they did it to Alabama last week, the same thing is going to happen to TCU. They're going to get upset. The Longhorns are going to dab the TCU and tell them, hey, go back. They don't have to go back far because they are TCU is, I think it's in Fort Worth. So they don't have to go far. But I like it. I like our differences here.
I think TCU wins this game going away. And I think they walk out of Texas saying that they're better than Alabama too.
All right. Mizzou versus Tennessee. Now, Tennessee's favorite at 20.5, 20.5, and the over-under is 57.
I'm going to take the over on this game. I think it's gonna
Oh,
end up being high scoring.
now you want to take the over.
Now I'm going
All right.
over.
I've been giving you an opportunity on the other games, and you ain't being sold on it, but okay. I'm also taking the over on this game. There's gonna be maybe 58-59. It's gonna be close. You're gonna be at the edge of your seat, okay? At the edge of your seat, and you'll be like, damn, please score one more. Please score one more. And then boom. Before the second's over, they'll get that 58-59th point.
I think this is going to be like a 38-35 game. And I think by the time the third quarter's happening, they'll have already gone over 57 combined.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. I like it. It's going to be pretty warm out there. So, all right. Last game, Washington barely making it to the top 25. They are visiting Oregon. Oregon's favorite 13.5. And check this out. The over under in this game is 72.5.
Good Lord.
That's what I said.
Man.
Yeah, I know. There you go. Trying to do your math. Final score will be.
I'm gonna say under. I'm gonna go under. I think they'll get maybe close to that, but I'm gonna go under.
So the last time both teams had over 72 points was in 2016. It was October 8th, 2016 in Oregon when Washington won 70-21. They put up 70 points against Oregon. That's not going to happen against Oregon. Not at all. I am with you. Put your money in this game. I guarantee you that this game is going under 72. As a matter of fact, it'll be at a range between 50 and 55. If you are able to adjust your over under on your picks and want to make more money, put it between 50 and 55.
I like that.
Yes, absolutely. But it's coming to fourth down right now. And I know this show's about a little bit slow, but the pick should be more entertaining. Probably people scratching their heads like, what are you talking about? But I'm gonna tell you, like I told everybody every week, I made my monies. I specifically made my monies. I am I love DraftKings and I love Sugar House. I like both those. I alternate each week. And I have to say that I've been on the positive every week since week 3. So I'm happy. Okay.
That's awesome.
And I'm guaranteeing I'm winning this pot. These 6 games that particularly I'm going to win. Thanks to you, Joe.
I have been on a bit of a downturn myself lately.
That's all right. You got to hang in there with me, man.
Oh yeah. I'll tell you honestly, I lost so many weeks in a row. I took a couple weeks off from betting.
Mm,
I don't bet a ton, you know what I mean? But yeah, this would be a I also feel like this has been a weird season. It's
it
been
has.
hard, it's been hard to especially when 'cause I like to parlay. I'll take like 8 or 9 games and there's like 2 or 3 every week that just I don't know. It's not supposed to happen.
Well, that's what you get for doing like 9, 10 game parlays. I mean, you gotta like
You could do a 9,
narrow
10
it
game
down.
parlay for like $5 and the payout's like 1,000.
1,000, yes.
I do it. Yeah.
It's like Powerball, right?
I get so close. So, dude, all season, every week, man, I'm like, oh, I get the first 5 or 6, like, yes. And then somebody blows it. Somebody blows it every time, usually from the Pac-12.
At least, oh man, I was about to say you gotta wait till 10:30 at night to
I
start
know,
crying,
right?
crying to go to
Having
bed.
a great old day. Oh yeah, dude. The other night, yeah, literally, I was up to like 1 in the morning, watching the late game. Oregon State got beat up pretty bad, and that killed me.
It happens, but that's the high risk that you pay to try to make that 1,000.
Oh yeah,
I think
dude.
I think you should listen to me this week.
I've done like a $2 10-team parlay. I've
Oof.
hit a few times. I mean, I've done pretty well. I can usually parlay, but this season in the NFL's been worse.
Oh yes, definitely. Like there's just so many upsets each week, and you
Every
scratch
week.
your head like, what? You just played like a Super Bowl team, and now this week you're playing like you didn't do preseason.
I've lately in the NFL, I've been trying to pick the upsets. Parlay 4 or 5 upsets. That's a little hefty payday too. Had the Giants, had the Jets.
Oh
Commanders
no,
did me in. Commanders.
you may want to pick them again this week. Just saying, just a fruitful thought. But no matter what, these picks, these top 6, my upset
You got
TC is
this.
going down.
All right. I believe it. I feel
Yes,
it. Let's make
and
some money this weekend.
I feel something coming at me with this Crimson Tide. So you want to explain more?
I would love to.
All right.
What is wrong with Alabama? After suffering its second loss of the season, Alabama finds its CFP hopes hanging by a thread. As Obi mentioned before, there's never been a 2-loss team in the CFP. It's not an actual committee policy or anything, and things certainly could change, as Ovi alluded to, when you expand to 12, but for now, it's never happened, and to be honest, it's not likely to happen this year. Alabama has the talent to win a national championship. Bryce Young and linebacker Will Anderson Jr. are 2 of the top, maybe 3 to 5 players in all of college football. Recruiting has remained strong thanks to more than a dozen consecutive top 5 signing classes. Depth shouldn't be an issue. On top of that, despite complaining about it, Nick Saban owned the transfer portal this offseason, signing all conference players and Power 5 starters at multiple positions. And for all that, Alabama only has 1 win over a ranked team, a 20-19 victory over number 18 Texas, which, let's be honest, isn't anything to write home about. And yet, Alabama No, let me try again. After the loss to LSU, Nick Saban called it an understatement to say that his players were disappointed. This marks the first time since 2010 that Alabama has 2 losses before the Iron Bowl. Saban said they were capable of more, but he said sometimes we beat ourselves and it's kind of hard to overcome. Yeah, too many penalties, an inability to protect your quarterback, the lack of a strong running game, the poor development of your current receiving core, and a defense that doesn't make stops in big moments. That is a lot to overcome. Even for the team loaded with the most 5-star recruits and with a Hall of Fame coach in Nick Saban. Despite all the many advantages that Alabama enjoys over the rest of college football, the Tide hasn't been able to get on a roll. The Orange Bowl, not a bad consolation prize. That's going to do it for this week's show. For Ovi Winnies, I'm Joe Aguirre. Enjoy this weekend's games. We'll catch you back here next Wednesday night for all 4 downs.